Hey there, everybody. I wanted to do something a little different today. I've been getting a lot of requests for me to play, and of course, I like playing, and we want to encourage each other to play. But I mentioned it in the last video, the one I made for Dan, that there are a couple of books that I use. The Getchel Hovey Second Practical Studies, second book of practical studies. The first one is fine too. They're a little simpler. And the Potag Preparatory Melodies to Solo Work, which was originally a horn book. Max Potag was a horn player with the Chicago Symphony years ago, and he wrote these little melodies, and it's similar to the horn players use koprosh. They have about 60 or so etudes, I think, of koprosh, and those are great too. These are shorter and simpler. And so what it does is it gives us a chance to work on music. And what I want to show you today is how the music can help you. So the first step is to let yourself appreciate the music from a listener's point of view. What does it do for you? Where does it take you? How does it make you feel? What kind of pictures come to mind? How does your body want to move? All those things, very, very important. By the way, this is an old edition again. I showed you the Hovey, Getchel Hovey in the last series, the last video, but take a look at this. Hopefully you can see that. It's one I use all the time. I play out of this almost every day because they're enjoyable. And that's a really good reason for playing music. So, this first one I'd like to play for you is number 7 in the Preparatory Melodies book. And some of you know that I'm a GR mouthpiece consultant. And so I've been working with Gary for about 15 years and I have tremendous respect for his work, the quality of what he does, and the product that he produces. And so I don't endorse much, but when I find something that really works, I invest myself in it. So a consultant is a person who helps another player discover what is a good mouthpiece match for them physically, the way they play, the way their body is made, and the way they use their air, and the way they're used to playing, and acoustically, the way the mouthpiece matches the horn. And these tunes that I'm going to play for you today are both tunes that I usually use for play testing when I'm doing a consultation. And I won't get into all the reasons, but it basically has to do with listening to how easy some things are for a player to do, or how they're more difficult, among many other things. So this first one is called Tempo di Valse. It gives you a clue as to kind of the style and how it should go. It goes something like this. Now, I'm fluffing a little bit, and why? It's because I'm thinking about playing the trumpet. I'm trying to manage playing the trumpet physically, and this is the biggest mistake that we can make. That's why I wanted to do this little segment. So what I want to do now is look at the music and see how, if I can just let that help me. What is the shape? What is the direction? What is the gesture? What am I going for? So you see what you have here. So there's this wonderful lifting kind of gesture. And then what's going on? So it's a beautiful, simple line that descends, a longer shape. And then you have the same kind of gesture again. Now we get into some other really, really important things. Now this is a melodic piece with no accompaniment that I know of. Although anybody who's got ears, anybody who's trained, can hear how there's a harmonic structure, because this is traditional music. It's easy to guess. You can kind of, the music itself tells you what the harmony is going to be. And so you can hear there's where the harmonic changes, like in jazz, where the changes are, whether it's the progression of the chords. And you need to learn to think harmonically, because this gives you a tremendous amount of the structure of the music. So you have a note that's emphasized because it has a slight dissonance. It's going to resolve into the harmonic structure. These are the kind of things you want to listen for. So you have simple things that you can see on the page, connect the dots, a bigger interval, a gesture going up. And then, of course, you have the musical notation. You have, it says mezzo forte, gives you an idea of something, and crescendi and decrescendi, which is, of course, and articulation markings, whatever. There's tons of information in the notation. What you're trying to do is translate that in your mind, in your imagination, into sound. And all good players do this automatically. I look at a piece of music and it's immediately being translated into sound in their mind, and then that sound is being translated into physical skill necessary to play it. And this comes from doing it a lot, over and over again, while trying to let the music come through. So if I'm thinking about playing in tune, or I'm thinking about being rhythmically accurate, or I'm thinking about playing soft enough, or loud enough, or short enough, or long enough, I'm trying to fulfill rules. And music is not rules. There's structure to it, but the structure is to express something. So let's get to the expression. Now I'm going to continue on. Actually, I'll start from the beginning so you can hear the whole beginning phrase. So you hear now it's gone different levels. Dee-da-dum, dee-da-dum, da-da-da-da-dum. So you have a higher, it's reaching higher now. The pitch, the melody is telling you something. So you're getting the idea of why we practice scales and arpeggios so much. Because traditional music is largely made out of scales and arpeggios. And the more beautifully you can play them, the better off you are. This is why I've said previously, when you play drills, play them as music. What do I mean? There's a sense of direction, there's a sense of shape, there's a sense of lift, buoyancy, there's a sense of rhythmic structure, like a dance. These are all the things you're trying to get into. Now, trying to play the trumpet actually gets in the way a lot. And so what we're trying to do is break down that physical, technical, logical, mental, rules requirement approach, and get so that we can just play music. It starts with you being able to hear it. So what I'll oftentimes do is I look at it, I'm sight singing it. Sometimes I do it out loud, sometimes I'm doing it mentally. And then I'm starting to get an idea of what the character of the music is. I'm starting to get to know it, become more intimate with what this little example, what this little vignette of human experience is trying to express. And here, what I get is it's lighthearted. It's a dance, and a waltz is kind of party. At least if you go back into the period in Austria where waltzes were king. So I think you understand what I mean. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to make the transition and go ahead so you can hear how the harmony changes. Okay, I hope that gives you a little bit of an idea. So you can listen as an enjoyer. Like a person goes to a good restaurant, somebody has worked very hard with their imagination and their skills that they've built over years to prepare food that tastes great. And you eat the food and you enjoy it tremendously. Sounds good. I guess I must be getting hungry. But if you want to be a player, you're basically saying, I want to learn how to make the food. So what are all the ingredients? I'm going to talk a little bit more about this and then play the other example. These gestures are changes in musical intensity, and they happen through changes in pitch, higher pitch, lower pitch, how big those intervals are. They happen with rhythmic structures. They happen with the feeling that the fact that it's written in waltz tempo and it's a feeling of 3, which is kind of a circular feel. You see how I'm making a gesture? All this is gestures. And so if you can start to taste it and appreciate it for what it is, that's the beginning. Then you hear a very accomplished player play a piece of music that you're working on, and it's inspiring, not only because, wow, that sounds cool, but you get into it more deeply and you say, well, what are they actually doing there? What are they doing with their sound, the color? What are they doing with the pitch? Not only playing in tune, but the tendencies of the pitch. What are they doing with vibrato and what I call pronunciation or enunciation, where how the words are of the musical words are pronounced. So I'm going to play the next one. This is number 65, or the first one in the second book from Getchel and Hovey. And this is it's kind of like a march. It doesn't say that, it doesn't have any markings on it at all. And so when I'm playing something with no markings, in a way that's good, because it's a blank slate. What is this supposed to sound like? So I'll play a little bit of this. I might play all the way through. We'll see. I'm giving it a little bit of character, but it feels kind of stiff. Why? Again, I'm thinking about playing the trumpet. I'm thinking about doing so, da, 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 and that's what comes out of the horn. So now I'm going to go back and look at the music. What's it doing? It's pretty simple. You heard it. You just heard it. So there's your melodic shape. So simple. It's so simple. So if I concentrate on that, which is bigger, same thing repeated a step lower, and then it continues down the progression and then back up the scale. Now you have the shape of the opening phrase. And it doesn't sound so square and vertical anymore. So I'll try it thinking of it differently. I'll be really curious when I watch the video to see if this works as well as I hope it will. So I finished this out. You see how short there? There's 3 lines of music. So you can work on the refinement of the quality. I have a friend from way back, Kamal Boulos, who owns a couple of restaurants in Columbus, Ohio. And he was, we were talking one day and he said, it's really hard to find a good chef. There's so many people who just want to be creative and do their thing, but being a good chef requires being able to cut the asparagus exactly the right way and to prepare the fish exactly the right way. Whatever it is that you're doing, to do it exactly the right way consistently. And that doesn't sound very exciting. See, it's not all creative. But what I'm telling you is, yes, those skills and that craftsmanship are essential for you becoming a great player. But it's based on the creative idea. In this case, someone else's creative idea, right? And being able to hit that target over and over again so that every time somebody comes in for the meal, It's well prepared and enjoyable, just like it was before, or maybe even a little bit better. So I hope this little taste has given you something interesting for today, and maybe inspired you to listen in a different way. Use your ears, eat the food, appreciate it, taste it for all you're worth, and then go back and listen to yourself as you play. Record yourself to see if you're getting those results. You're going to make progress, and it's going to be more fun because you'll be receiving and expressing the life that comes into and through the music, and that's what it's all about. Have a great day. I'll see you all later. Bye bye.